What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie here in studio on the East Coast. We got a special guest calling in today. We have a couple of special guests calling in today, and I'm really looking forward to today's show. We are closing in on UFC 229, which is coming up at the end of the week. My schedule has been super busy. Let's jump right into the heat of things with this interview here. But first, make sure you guys subscribe down below here on Pure Evil MMA on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and on YouTube. We got Charlie Hollywood Brown on the phone right now. What's going on, Charlie? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
I'm doing good, man. Like, honestly, first thing I want to say to you is just thank you so much for your service. I saw that you've served in the military.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thanks.
So is that kind of what led you into the mixed martial arts scene? Was like, maybe when you got out, you kind of wanted something to focus on, or how did this find you? Did you do MMA before you went into the service? Fill us in on that.
Yeah, I've actually been boxing since I was 9 years old. My mom and my dad both were professional boxers growing up, and I actually joined the military because my dad was a Marine. So I went into the Army just to do things different because my uncle went to the Navy. My dad was a Marine, and he wanted me to be a Marine as well, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go to the Army and do everything you did but better. And so it's been like a nice little competition rivalry that we've had.
So does he go to all your fights and stuff like that? Like, I see that now you have a child. So, do you guys have the same kind of relationship, too? Does he go to your fights? Because I saw a comment on your page. It was he obviously saw you come home with a couple of bruises. I think you guys were calling it the owies.
Yeah.
The owies?
Yeah.
What's that like?
My son, he hasn't been to any of my fights yet. He's only 3, but he has watched some of them when they're televised and stuff. So he likes watching me train and everything. He's in the gym with me every day, and it's really cool with him watching me do my thing, because he'll take his time, and he'll do the things that I'm doing with other students. He has his favorite students that he'll mock in class and stuff, so he'll shadow box, go put on some gloves, hit the bags, hit the mitts, and things like that. And so it's really awesome watching them. Is that kind of like how you started when you were a kid? Your parents are into boxing. Is it kind of literally the same thing? The apple literally didn't fall far from the tree at all here. Yeah, man. It was pretty much like that. My granddad, we used to sit before he passed. We used to sit around and watch boxing or go to the boxing gym when and he'll just train me, and it was you can do it, son. You gotta go and just do it. He used to be a real big encouragement to me. He really loves the fight game. So when I got into it, he was really excited about it. So
man, I don't have any kids of my own. One day I do want to have kids, but I can only imagine as a fighter, I mean, it's got to change a lot. It changes a lot for anybody, no matter what position in life you're at, whether you're young, you're old. What did it change for you specifically?
You are right. It does change a lot, man. I don't think it changed for the worse, but it changed for the better. It gives you a little bit more motivation to do things better. With how you carry yourself as a fighter, how you train, how because you want to do good. You want them to see you as a superhero.
A leader.
So So when they watch you train and watch you do these things and follow you, my daughters, they love it. They love watching me train and watching me fight, and they see me on TV and they tell their friends at school and stuff, oh, my dad's on TV.
Let's get into that right there. I mean, the women's scene has definitely been growing over the past few years. You're seeing more and more girls go to kickboxing classes or, pop up on the UFC headlining events. Do they have any favorite fighters? Do they actually watch? Do they know what's going on? Or are they just interested, in the combat of it?
They're just interested in the combat. They like watching me, you know.
Yeah,
like if
of
I'm
course.
sitting and watching fights, they'll watch with me. My oldest daughter, she's really into soccer. You know, she wants to learn jiu-jitsu, but she doesn't want to do like kickboxing or anything. She's just like, you know, I just want to do jiu-jitsu and things like that. So it's cool watching her want to get interested in it, but she's really big into soccer. So that's like her thing. And my other daughter, my youngest daughter, she's like a princess. She just likes to watch. She don't want to do nothing about, you know, she likes sports, but she's the girly girl. She's like the baby girl, you know, so.
They go down to the MMA lab. That's one thing I forgot to mention here, guys. You know, Charlie actually trains at the MMA lab. There's a lot of huge stars there like Lauren Murphy, Benton Henderson. And you guys actually got a brand new gym, right? Are you at the brand new gym in Glendale?
Yeah, I was actually part of the first fight team with the MMA lab.
Wow.
And in the beginning, it was just me, Chris Gritzmacher,
wow.
and you know, and Dale Hawkins. You know, for the longest time, it was just us. You know, and me and Chris Gritzmacher, we were roommates. We lived together for a long time. I talk to him frequently. Like he's like a brother to me. So we're really close.
I love that guy, man. Like when he was on The Ultimate Fighter, I was like, this literally looks like, and no offense, he looks like the Geico caveman, and people just loved him. He was just like a brute. He's a brute in there.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude, man. Like I love that guy.
The Nosh showers.
Huh?
Him with the Nosh showers on that season of Ultimate Fighter. I mean, I enjoyed his character on that season. I wanted to see more of him in the UFC. What's he been up to?
Right now he's been training. He lives in North Carolina now. Okay. He's been training and going down to ATT, and I believe he's getting ready for another fight. I know he just beat Joe Lozon, you know, a while ago, and he's just been in the gym training and teaching his kids class and things like that. So I don't know what he has scheduled yet, but I know he's been training. So he hasn't really told me, you know, anything about him fighting yet, but I know he's been getting ready.
How is the new gym out there? I mean, that's got to be like a nice, refreshing start for everybody all together. You know, have you seen like a brighter vibe now that you guys got like this new space? What are some of the perks that you didn't have at this one that you know didn't have at the other one?
I'm actually in Wisconsin right now.
Okay.
Because I got transferred here in the military a couple years back, so I haven't seen the new location.
All right.
So and I've actually come back to Wisconsin to the original team that I've been with before I moved to the lab.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I am with Team Vaghi right now of Wisconsin, and we're under Rodrigo Vaghi, who's a 5th degree black belt under Helio, and so I have guys who, like Zach Freeman and a few other guys, Luis Pena, like
Luis. Yeah, you know what? Pena. I remember Luis before he was on Ultimate Fighter. We were hooking up for an interview, and I remember him sending me like a couple of clips of him before anybody really was on board with him, and now he's this year has been huge for Luis.
That's phenomenal, man. Like. He's just like anybody on our Team Vaghi team. Like all we do is train. Like that's all we want to do is train and fight, man. We have some monsters on there that a lot of people don't know about yet, but they will. You know, so it's been real cool. I just you know, some of our coaches like Tracy Taylor, Mike Martin, Mike Rogers, you know, Bill Krieg, who's my jiu-jitsu black belt here in Wisconsin. They're like phenomenal teachers, man, and I can't say anything bad about what they do. They support every fighter they have. They're like the most kind-hearted people ever, but you know, when it comes to competition, like they're all about it. They're like boom, 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 you know, strictly by the book, let's get it done, you know. And so I love training with these guys.
And it seems like you are somebody that likes living on the edge of things, likes, adventure, being in the military, being inside the mixed martial arts scene. I also see that you're like riding motorcycles and stuff. Like you just live on the edge. But then I saw like a picture on Instagram. It's like you seem like a very spiritual person as well. There's a statue that you have on your Instagram, and I actually have it right here. I know that you can't see it, but it's not Buddha, but it's somebody with their arms folded, their hands on their lap. What exactly is that? What does this represent?
It's a female Buddha.
Is it okay?
It's Thai. I am a pretty spiritual person. It's hard to explain. I grew up Catholic and Baptist. Just growing up in the church, I had a lot of questions that really couldn't be answered by people of the church, so I had to seek out my own answers, so to say. Not saying that I don't believe in God, because I do believe in God and a higher power, but I'm really into, I've taken more from Eastern philosophy and Buddhist, so to say. And so, like, I just look at things a lot differently.
Like, what's something that caught your eye originally with Buddhism? Like, what's the one thing that was like, wow?
Just the peacefulness. Everyone's peaceful, and we all seek. I feel like everyone in this world seeks to be good people, but they're just guided the wrong way. Like we have all these misfortunes in our lives that guide us the wrong way, with being good people in different ways that don't necessarily abide by today's society. So I don't know, it's I guess how peaceful everything is with Buddhism. It's what finding inner peace and finding your soul, just to be guided in the right direction.
So, like, I find that so weird, because you're a fighter. It's so extreme. So before you're ready for the fights, like if you're backstage, fighters have their rituals. Like, they listen to music, they get hyped, they listen to like Lil Wayne blunt blowing. What do you do? Do you sit back there and meditate? How do you prepare moments before you walk out?
Before a fight, well, leading up to the when it's weight cut week. My favorite movies are the Rocky movies.
Okay, yeah.
So, during weight cut week and the day of the fight, I literally watch Rocky 1 through 6 like all week. That's literally all I watch. And just because of like the inspiration of it, it's just something I do. It gets me in the mind frame of like, I'm about to go to battle. I don't care who I'm fighting. Like, I'm going to give everything I got until I can't stand anymore. And that's kind of what I take from the Rocky movies. So me and my team will literally we'll watch that, and then just to change it up a little bit, we throw in a little bit of Adam Sandler and watch some Waterboy.
Okay, yeah.
So it'll just loosen up things and get the mind to just flow with a little humor in it,
a little relaxation involved. Yeah. It's seriously.
And so, in the back, when we're getting ready and we're taped up, it's just laughter. I'm just talking with my team until like 2 fights before I go on, and then everyone switch. Like the switch gets turned on, and it's time to go. Like the conversation changes, the motivation starts to pick up. Like it's all about you're great. You are greatness, like they fill me with a whole bunch of inspiration, like they remind me on what I did to get here, how good I am, don't doubt myself. Like my team is great. Like my favorite guy on my team guys are Diesel Awadala. He's my judo coach, and my training partner and fight manager, Brandon Ansel. Like these guys, they know what to say to me. Michael Biddle, he's my kickboxing coach. He knows what to say to me to like get me fired up, And I've met with you know, Deanna, who's now my new fight
Shout out
manager.
to Deanna. Shout out to my girl Deanna, man. Thank you for hooking us up with the interview and everything.
Yeah, she's awesome, man, and I like working with her, you know, because she reminds me of the guys that I work with currently. Like, she's very inspirational. She's very motivated.
Let's talk about that. I mean, there's so many people in our lives that can just creep in and just give you all these bad vibes, bad energy. Even some of my closest friends, like, you know, taking stuff from me and things like that. And it comes to the point where it's like, you just can't have that around you anymore. Like, it's crazy.
You gotta delete those people,
Yeah.
man. And I try to tell a lot of my friends, you know, like, you just gotta delete those people. You know, as much as they've been around, I've had friends that have been around for freaking years, you know, and they're leeches and they're vomit, they're poison, and
Well, like, here's the thing.
Huh?
Here's the thing. It's like, you know, even the people out there that, you know, are generous, are nice, but they're still not living right. Like, they may have some demons or addiction issues. Like, I don't want to feel like a bad friend or anything, but, like, I need to stay focused right now. I'm at the point in my life where it's like big things can happen any week, any day. You're in the same boat, you know?
Yeah. And when, I don't know, like, people, there's two kinds of people with that I think. They're the people who don't want to do better and don't want to, like, seek help and so all they do is just bring you down. Like, those are the leeches and the poison that you have to just, you know, get anti-venom for, you know. And then there's the ones who just have bad fortune, and you help them and they change for the better, you know. Like, they're not so much as a leech. They're like, you know, a cold, and they can get better. Like, you can heal this cold. It's like having the flu, and it's just, you know, taking that medicine, giving them a little bit of medicine to, like, help them, you know.
I mean, there are boundaries, though. I mean, like, at the moments, like, you're in your life, like, you have to be very selfish. Mixed martial arts is a very selfish sport. You need to worry about you and you only sometimes, you know.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. It's just having people who are just understanding.
Yes.
To give you the space, give you the time, give you, like, the inspiration. Like, hey, do your thing. Don't let anyone stop you.
Man, you nailed it.
Yeah, like, my mom at first. So it's funny because, like, when I started fighting, my mom didn't even want me to do so much as, like, wrestling in high school. I wrestled in high school for, like, 3 years, and she knew nothing about it. Like, because I would stay after school. I was, like, a straight-A student, a big nerd, and I played all the sports. So she knew
she had no idea.
Yeah, she knew I played football. She knew I was, like, in the ROTC program and all this stuff. So I stayed after school for a while, like, all the time. But the whole time for, like, 3 years, I only stayed after school because I had wrestling practice. And then one day I was like, hey, Mom, like, come pick me up from school. And, you know, we have this ROTC thing going on. And I invited her to one of my wrestling matches. And that's when she found out that I wrestled. And she was like, what the heck? You know, like, she freaked out at first. But she seen that I was really good at it. And from there, you know, she didn't know I boxed for a while. You know, I had to hide it from her because she didn't want me to fight.
Why is that, though? Like, you told us, you know, at the beginning of the interview, both your parents were, like, you know, in the boxing scene. So, like, did they want to hide you from that? Did they not want that life for you?
I think my mom and my grandma, they were very, like, education is everything. Like, my grandma didn't even want me to go to military. She wanted me to go to college, you know, right after high school. And, you know, now it's cool because they've seen everything I've accomplished because of the choices I've made. You know, like, I have a lot of military awards and things to, like, look back. My grandma's very proud of that now. My mom is literally now my biggest freaking fan besides my little brother.
Awesome,
like, my mom asks, hey, every time, like, you know, my LFA fight comes on, she calls me, hey, you on TV again? I'm watching your fight. You know, like, going crazy. Like, she goes to every fight I've had, you know, that she can make it to. She's always asking me when's the next fight, give her tickets, give her this and that. Like, but in the beginning, it was like, no, 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 no. I don't want you doing that, because I'm her older son. I was like her baby, so she didn't really, she wanted a different path for me, but as I got older, I just had to, let her know, like, Ma, like, let me make my mistakes, let me make my achievements, and, you got to let me just live my life how I'm going to choose to do it.
It's like the end of Finding Nemo. Yeah.
So, once she accepted that, and, it's been good. Like, my mom is, and I think this goes for, like, every fighter, like, their mom or their dad, they're all, like, really big inspirations to us. We want to make them proud, of course, so I try to, everything I do, and, I try to pass that on to my son so he can feel that same way. I'm never going to force fighting on him, but of course he's my boy. So, I'm like, hey, well,
it's in your DNA, son. It's in your DNA.
Yeah. So if he, I would really like to see him wrestle and play football and, like play sports. He loves sports. The kid is only 3 years old, and, he loves freaking sports. He'll sit and watch a game with me. His mom got him. I'm a Niners fan. His mom is making him a Packers fan because, he's from Wisconsin, and his mom's from Wisconsin. So, like, their whole family are Packers fans. So he's always yelling at me like, "Oh, Daddy, the Packers are playing." And I'm like, "Oh, my God, dude, you got to get that crap out of the house." So, but he's awesome.
3 years old. 3 years old, and he's already talking back to Dad and be like, "Oh, your team's going down, Dad."
We legitimately have,
watch the kid rip. Yeah.
Yeah, we legitimately have, like, arguments in the living room about, like, Marvel and Spider-Man and the Hulk, and, like, I only, like, antagonize it just because I want to see where he's gonna go with the entire thing. Like, he'll tell me, like, "Oh, Spider-Man does this and that, and Thanos is this and this," and I'm like, "Well, Thanos is strong." Like, "No, Dad, Spider-Man's stronger." And, like, we'll argue about it, like, for a while, and it's so funny just to see how into it he gets, because Spider-Man is God to him. Like, nobody beats Spider-Man.
I've been there, man. I've been there. I know. I know the struggle. I know that you got to catch that on your Instagram. That would be so funny if you're able to catch that. But listen, man, before we let you go, my last question to you is, in this fight game, it's very difficult. I mean, people look at you for your last 2 fights. That's what you're really judged on, your last 2-3 fights. What do you do to keep a positive mindset if you do experience a setback at this stage in your career? How do you start your day off right, on the right foot, and, keep your brain as strong as your body?
You just got to get back to it, man. Like, you got to realize in this game that you're going to win, you're going to lose. And once you realize that, nothing can really break you after that. Because, I mean, he's either going to be better than you that day, you're going to learn some things from watching the video if you lost, and just go back to the drawing board and just keep training. Everybody is not going to, you got these undefeated fighters and all that, but that's only going to last for so long. And I guess for me, it's like I said, it's my support system. When I lose, they just remind me, hey, you did this, you did that. We'll work on this. Let's get back in the gym. Take your week off, heal up. And usually I'm back in the gym teaching. Like, I have so many people who look up to me. I don't have time to, like, pity myself for anything.
You wake up motivated to grind, it sounds like. Yeah.
I got to get back in the gym and get back to it, so.
I love it. Yeah, 100%, man. I love those words of wisdom that you've had throughout this entire interview. And my last, I know I said that was the last one, but we need to know what your plans are for, the end of the year. Are we going to see you back in the cage? What are your plans?
Yeah, man. I actually have a boxer's fracture on my hand right now, so I'm just healing that up. Once that's all healed up, I'm trying to get another fight in before the end of the year. I do have a couple. I'm really big into jiu-jitsu, so I compete in jiu-jitsu as much as I can. I was going to compete this month, but I can't. So I'm just going to go and support, some of my teammates and help coach them. And then, I'm looking. My goal this year is try to just get my brown belt and just keep competing. I'll be doing a couple jiu-jitsu tournaments at the end of the year, and looking for another fight after that. So.
What about EBI? Have you been, looking into EBI? That would be a huge, step in the right direction if that's what you want to do.
A couple of my friends talked to me about some of that. I haven't really looked into it. I really just leave that up to my managers.
Yeah.
They approach me with, hey, this guy contacted me or this guy, and then I like to just focus on just being in the gym, training, and getting better. And then when they tell me, hey, I'm ready, or hey, we got this, I'm like, all right, let's do it. We'll negotiate what we need to negotiate, and I tell them what I want, and and my job is just to be ready. So I kind of just leave that up to my team to set up the next thing for me.
So listen, I'm gonna get beat up by all my listeners if I don't ask you this last question here. Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. How do you see this fight going down?
Khabib is gonna murder Conor. I don't know, man. I love Conor. His skill set. I love him as a fighter. He's done great things. There's some things I don't agree he should have done. With how his direction is gone.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Khabib, man. That guy's straight to business, and I honestly think he's gonna, if he doesn't beat him early, he's gonna just take 5 rounds and beat the living hell out of Conor, just on principle alone because of their bad blood. That's just how I feel. So I got Khabib, for a 5-round beatdown for this fight.
There we go, guys. Charlie Hollywood Brown joining us on Pure Evil MMA for the first time. Charlie, I want to thank you so much, man. We got to get you back on the show, definitely by the end of the year or after your next fight, whatever have you. What we like to do at this point in the interview is I hand the microphone over to you. If you have any shout-outs, any sponsors, anything at all, the floor is now all yours.
Yeah, man, I want to just give a shout-out to all my sponsors. Health Matters, Cryotherapy, 24/7, New London Fitness. There's so many. Breakpoint, Deanna, Brandon. My Team Vaggie, Wisconsin, and St. Louis. All the guys who support me with everything I do. Just big shout out to you guys.
And social media tags. Where can people find you on social media?
If you want to find me on social media, man, you can find me at Instagram at Hollywood7114. You can add me on Snapchat. I do a lot of funny Snapchat videos just for no reason, and that's at Hollywood Rock 7. That's Hollywood ROC 7. And you can find me on Facebook at Charlie Hollywood Brown. You'll probably see a picture of me either fighting or of my son and things like that. And once you add me, I'll send an invite to my fighter page, which is Hollywood Samurai, and that's about it.
Charlie, thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks. You too, man.
There you guys go, Charlie Hollywood Brown. And I had so many more questions for him, but we're reaching the half-hour point. I mean, Charlie Brown, you grew up as a kid named Charlie Brown. I need to know where Hollywood came in, because I would just keep it Charlie Brown. I'd want to see Charlie Brown fight. Let's be real. All right, so guys, today I know we started the show right off. We jumped right into it with an interview, which I forgot to fill you guys in on what the schedule looks like today. So obviously we're live. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you guys so much. Make sure you do subscribe down below, because we're doing shows nonstop. I've been pumping out a lot of content. I actually just did an interview with Jesse James Kozakowski where we walked around a park. We spoke about his lineage to Bruce Lee, his family's lineage. We spoke about, his path to glory to the UFC. And also, guys, tomorrow, live on Pure Evil MMA, big announcement right now. UFC's and Ultimate Fighters, Diego Lima, joining us for, I think, the 4th time now on the show. He's coming off an exciting weekend where his brother just beat Andrei Korshkov in Bellator 206. This was a great weekend, by the way. I actually released the Bellator 206 vlog. I am releasing vlogs now, guys. I was wondering if, like, maybe I should do, like, a vlog channel of its own. Like, instead of having it on the Pure Evil MMA channel where you guys get all the interviews, so it doesn't get too confusing if I put vlogs in there. Maybe I should open up another channel just for the vlogs. Let me know what you guys think about it, because it comes down to you. I do want to do more of these vlogs, though. It's a lot of fun doing them. You guys get to see what's going on behind the scenes. If I'm having a fight party, just, you know, obviously I'm on Twitter and stuff like that, but there's so much going on in those moments. And this weekend for Bellator 206, I uploaded a couple of the clips. I gave my recap of it, sitting right here behind you on the couch. And, man, great event. I think it definitely deserved an 8 out of 10 between Vanderlei Silva, Rampage Jackson going in there, and the energy level being up here, going in there just slugging it out. Exactly what we wanted to see. Didn't know if we would see it. Man, it definitely delivered in my book. It definitely, with hands down, delivered in my book. Sorry, guys, at 2 p.m. in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we got Jonas Flock calling in. Joe Nasty, 10-3, on a 6-fight win streak right now. Really looking forward to that. And then finally at 3 p.m., I am going to be speaking with Charles Mantis. Let me just grab my Red Bull. And as I was telling you guys, obviously this weekend is fucking UFC 229. And everybody is going crazy. Everybody is going in on UFC 229. I'm really interested to see what the rest of this card looks like, because there are so many great fights on this card. Let's look at the lineup. And there's been a lot going on in the MMA world right now. Dana White saying that he's probably going to strip DC of the title. And this year we've just been seeing all this bullshit with titles. Like, titles literally mean nothing in 2018 going into 2019. How many titles have been stripped this year? It's got to be record-breaking. How many interim titles have been brought out this year that are no longer? I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Tony fucking Ferguson was the interim champ, was the champ of the lightweight division. And they stripped the dude overnight. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's so inconsistent. It's so frustrating. Like, if you are a new fan of the sport, you're going to have no idea what's going on. I barely know what's going on, and I got my ear to the track. Like, it's so much to keep up with. It needs to be consistent. Unless you lose, unless you're out for fucking... Like, there shouldn't even be an interim title. There should be no fucking interim titles. This is the entire thing with the interim title. Get rid of it. No more. They're only in certain cases should there ever be interim titles. Now they're just handing them out like candy. They really are. All right, guys. So, obviously our main event, undefeated Khabib Nurmagomedov, 26-0, going up against the number one contender, which in my book, yell at me if you want, Conor McGregor is the fucking champ of the lightweight division. I'm looking forward to this fight because what Conor was able to do to Eddie Alvarez, a wrestler, at 155 pounds, how he was able to shut him down, was so exciting in the back of my mind, because it was like, what else can Conor do at 155? We watched him murk dudes at 145. The argument there is, well, you know, he was depleting himself like you see a lot of people do, like Darren Till or whatever. But the fact is, he looked so good at 155. I feel like that's where he belongs. That's where we're going to see the best of the best for Conor. And I really do. Here's my thing with Conor versus Khabib. You guys heard me say it before. People keep comparing it to Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes, a small featherweight. Khabib's a big lightweight. Here's my prediction. If I had $1,000 to put on one of these guys, I would feel safer. Oh, this is big, because once I say it, I'm kind of stuck with it, huh? Listen, I'm rooting for Conor. I am rooting for Conor. I don't know if he's going to win this fight, but that's the thing every time Conor McGregor fights. Since I started watching Conor McGregor fight, it's like, how is he going to get past this guy? And, I mean, sometimes, you know, you eat the candy, you drink the lemonade, or it's like, you know, they're trying to pump up Dennis Seaver with his nasty, you know, kicks and stuff like that, his liver shots and shit like that. Then Conor goes in there and murks some stuff. But Dennis Seaver was able to take Conor down. You know, what he was able to do to Dustin the Diamond. Dustin the Diamond, I remember at the time, you know, watching his documentary and just being like all on board. And that wasn't that... It wasn't that I didn't think Conor McGregor was going to lose. I thought that was a pretty fair matchup. But just what he was able to do to Dustin, how he was able to back up his words, that was fucking 4 years ago. You know, Diego Brandao coming through. He beat Max Holloway. He had like a torn ACL. Marcus Brimage for the debut back in 2013. They still show the highlights for it. But what he was able to do to Eddie Alvarez at 155 pounds back in 2016, I will never forget that moment. How many times he dropped Eddie Alvarez there. And honestly, I think if Eddie Alvarez fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, Eddie Alvarez wins that fight. I'm going to say that right now. If Tony Ferguson fought Khabib, who would win that fight? That's the question. And that's something I really thought should have happened before we saw Conor go in there and fight anybody. But now the way things worked out, Khabib being the champion, Conor wanting to, make a big fight. Is this the biggest fight? Here's the big thing. Does it feel like a Conor McGregor fight? We're only a couple days away, and I got to be honest. That's why I'm here, and my show's named Pure Evil. I'm giving you my pure opinion. I don't feel as hype as I usually do for a Conor McGregor fight. I'm not feeling it this time around. Listen, I'm very, very excited to see what's going to happen. I'm tossing, turning, playing in my head how this is going to unravel. Very, very excited to see what's going to... Let me just tweet this out for everybody. But the fact of the matter is, it just feels like something's missing. I mean, this might be the reason why. I mean, you had such an escalating cycle with Conor McGregor. It was like, even with the Chad Mendes. Let's start with the Chad Mendes fight. The way things were working out, Josie Aldo getting called off. They fill in, late minute. Chad Mendes filling in. Mini Monday Mendes. They had the amazing walkout. I mean, it just felt so right. And then Conor going in there. That was a very competitive fight. And I do think we're going to see the same exact thing. Pretty close to what we saw at UFC 189 with Conor and Chad that we're going to see this weekend. But everything was perfect leading up to that fight. And the walkouts and everything, it just felt big. It felt amazing. Then he coaches The Ultimate Fighter, goes on season 22 of The Ultimate Fighter. What happens on that season? He goes through it, knocks Jose Aldo out in 13 seconds. 13 seconds he knocks him out. It's like, what the fuck is next for this guy? And you got to remember, with Ronda Rousey, it was kind of like the same thing. It was like she was, beating a lot of opponents, and then all of a sudden, it was like she beats Betch Gohei, which felt like such a big fight. And then here's Holly Holm, who was like ranked 9th at the time, and it's like, who is this person? Come in and just derails her entire career, and she can't get back on board. What happens to Conor right after that? Conor loses a fight, but he doesn't handle it the same way. I think a lot of people gain more respect and just appreciated Conor a little bit more from what he was able to do after he lost to Nate Diaz in that fight. And people throw a lot of shade at Conor for that fight because he did, at the end of the day, he lost the fight. But here's what I remember, guys. I remember that first round, him busting up Nate Diaz to the point where he was such a bloody mess. People were like, are they going to call this fight? So Conor McGregor thought he was going to be able to get the finish. He kept going in there, gave it his all, and he just gassed. That's what happened in that fight. He did lose the fight, but the way he dealt with it was amazing. He got the fight back, got the W. I scored it for Conor McGregor. Things just felt so big, like, what's next? Then he goes up a fucking weight class to 155 pounds, fights, well, I guess he was already around that weight, fights Eddie Alvarez at Madison Square Garden for the debut. So, like, you got all this stuff working behind it. Like, there's a legit machine behind it, a big storyline. I'm not saying there's no storyline with Khabib here, because there definitely is. Even the whole bus incident, they're promoting that. I get why. I mean, listen, it's a shame what happened. It's a shame that Michael was suing Conor. It's a shame that Rose was so affected in such a negative way from what happened. But that is one of the bigger things to get me excited, like, to promote the fight. I guess my point is, usually with all the pressers, the World Tour, and then after, let's not forget, the biggest climax was him fighting Mayweather. So now you have one of the biggest spectacles of the year. Maybe it didn't live up to everything we wanted it to, but it was just such a big thing. I was at the press conferences, or at the press conference in Brooklyn. It was a shit show, but it was such a great memory, guys. It really was. Looking back, like, when we were in the moment, we were, like, expecting so much. It was kind of corny, but now going back, rewatching that shit, it was like, you know, I laughed a couple of times. Those were good times. I was there. It was live. Great experience. I was hoping Conor was going to fight someone with a little more... I don't want to like say it because I love Khabib. He's undefeated. He is the champ. But I feel like Conor, the way that he was moving from Mayweather, now Khabib, not many people, let's be real, not many people know who Khabib Nurmagomedov is. I wanted to see Conor McGregor versus GSP. Do you guys not remember months ago, before they matched Conor up with Khabib, after the whole bus incident, the way they punished Conor was like, yeah, we were having him in the works to fight like GSP or something. Like I forgot exactly what was going on, but I do remember this. I remember that Coach K went out to Canada to talk to GSP's team, and I got excited from that. I was like, that makes sense. That would be the perfect storyline here moving forward, you know, because, listen, he lost the fight against Mayweather, so it's like he needs to come back and get the W, or else, like, how many brownie points are you going to lose there? And probably not much. The way that Conor, like I said, deals with losses is... It's respectable the way he deals with losses, but let's also remember that people judge you for your last 2 fights. Conor McGregor, people are constantly saying, oh, his endurance, his cardio, it's not there. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't even run. He rides bikes. His cardio's not on point, blah, 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 this and that. You hold that all against him. If he comes back and loses, people are going to be fucking throwing Conor under the bus, saying he was never as good as we thought he was, this and that. And that's just the way that MMA fans are. So he definitely does need this win. If he loses to Khabib Nurmagomedov, it's going to suck. I don't think it's going to be the last time they meet, because the UFC, they're already like thinking ahead. They're literally already thinking ahead. They were talking about Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva came out and was like, yeah, I'd fight Conor anywhere, anytime. Like, there are big fights out there still to make, even if Conor loses this fight. And we still have the Nate Diaz trilogy to look forward to. We still have that to look forward to. And in the back burner, if they open up the 165-pound division at MSG, which I'm pretty sure they are, and did, and it's official, Dustin can get his rematch from back in 2014 if he wins. Or Nate Diaz, obviously, will be the champion of the 165-pound division. What will motivate Conor McGregor more than that? So the way I want things to work out, honestly, and I'm sure the UFC wants it to work out, is if things play out perfect, and I'm not riding Conor McGregor's dick. Listen, I think Khabib has a better chance of winning this fight than Conor does. That's me being honest. I think it's 60-40 in my book. But I am hoping Conor wins. I think our sport really needs it. It would boost our sport even more. Like I'm saying with all these titles, like it's just so inconsistent. Things are so inconsistent in the UFC. We need one thing to just be stable. And Conor McGregor is the number one. He is the show right now for the UFC. John Bones is out. Ronda's out. Whatever star that we had is no longer there. Anderson Silva, not as big as he once was. GSP, yeah, he's still there. But no one's really talking about GSP. They're talking about Conor McGregor. Our sport needs Conor to win this fight. We need it. And we need him to move forward. We need either Dustin or Nate to win the fight, move up, or have GSP or Anderson Silva. Like, the possibilities are endless. But if Conor loses this fight, it's not going to... Obviously, it's not going to derail anything. But it's just going to take a little bit away and just be like some people just might be over it. Just be like, Conor just wasn't as good. I'm still excited. Listen, I'm still excited. As much as I'm kind of bashing this, as little motivation as I have for this fight, I'm still very excited. And I'm sure when I wake up that morning for fight night, it's going to feel just like a Conor McGregor morning, where it's like, all right, let's vibe. You know what I mean? Like, it's going down tonight. By 3 in the morning, we're going to know who the fuck is the champion for the lightweight division. Let's talk about it. And we'll decide from there. I am tossing and turning. What do you guys think about this? Who are you guys going for? Is what I'm saying making any sense? Are you guys as excited as you usually are for a Conor McGregor fight? Or am I the only one here just being like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm like... Man, maybe I'm just being a bitch. Maybe I'm just being difficult, but I don't know. Just like something feels like it's missing here. So in 15 minutes, we have our next guest. It's going to be calling in Jonah Flock. Let me just see if you guys are saying anything on YouTube real quick. And if you guys have any topics that you want to talk about, definitely let me know. Let's see what we got here. So the rest of this card is very interesting. But make sure you guys let me know who you're going for on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Also on Instagram at PureEvilMMA_. So then we got Tony Ferguson versus Showtime Pettis in the co-main event. This is a huge fight. If Showtime Pettis can beat Tony Ferguson, he's going to be next in line here at lightweight. The winner of this is the #1 contender after this. I mean, you got Pettis at number 8, but if he beats Ferguson, who's sitting pretty at number 2, it's definitely going to boost him up. I think I take Tony Ferguson in that fight, though. I am going to take Tony Ferguson in that fight. 25-3 Ferguson going up against 21-7 Showtime Pettis. You know, I've been riding Showtime Pettis. Everyone wants to be like, you know, he's back on his thing. He's only 31 years old. He's coming off a win from Chizay not too long ago. He lost to Dustin the Diamond. That was a great fight. He beat Jim Miller. He lost to Max Holloway. Before that, beat Charles Oliveira. Before that, lost to Edson Barboza. Before that, lost to Eddie Alvarez. I mean, the road's been pretty rocky. But little by little, he's getting back on his shit. And what we saw in his last fight, man, was fucking amazing. You can tell just a smile on his face, like he felt back. He felt motivated. And that's what he needed. That's exactly what he needed. But do I think he's going to get past Tony Ferguson here? It's an interesting matchup. I definitely am happy that this is the co-main event. Very interesting. How does Tony bounce back after, you know, the injury that he had, the stress that he was going through? You know, he was the champ. He was the fucking champ. Then we got OSP versus Hayes here. OSP sitting at number 7, Hayes at number 12. Hayes undefeated too. OSP, man, he is top 5 material. Could he be champion one day? Yes, I do think OSP could be champion one day, but he's still so fresh to the game. Like, he's still working on his style. But, man, he's got some techniques down, man. What he's been doing with the chokes, he just knocking dudes out, walking backwards. The Tyson Pedro fight that he had back in June. I mean, another guy, hot and cold. I'm going with OSP in that fight. Then we got Derek Lewis versus Volkov. This is a huge fight. People out there are like, you know, Derek Lewis going into this fight, what we saw in his last fight with Francis Ngannou, him complaining about his back, and them not really throwing down. But Derek Lewis, every time he steps in there, man, I'm fucking pumped. I was super excited about Francis Ngannou, and it was one of those fights where it was like, it was too good to be true. Like, you knew damn well if one of those dudes just went in, started throwing haymakers, and landed, someone was going down, or they were just going to both get real winded, and it was just going to be a shit show. People are saying it's one of the worst fights in heavyweight history, but I'm not holding too much against it, man. We wanted to see that fight for years and years and years. It was always on the back burner. Not years and years and years, but for some time. For some time. Derek Lewis did come out of that fight victorious against Francis Ngannou, back for UFC 226. Before that, beating Marcin Tybura. His last loss was to Mark Hunt, and that was a big fight for him. I remember watching that. I had a little fight party for that. And he was facing a lot of adversity in that fight. He was coming off the win to Travis Brown, where I personally thought that was a big moment for Derek Lewis because it was either like he hurt his stomach or broke his fingers. I forgot exactly what happened. He said he had a boo-boo belly at the end of the fight and then made some remark about Ronda. But in that fight against Travis Brown, man, Travis was winning that fight at one moment. And I thought Derek was done for. Derek was able to, you know, stay cool, calm, collected, push forward, and literally shut down Travis Brown and get the W. And then they pushed him right into the fire with Mark Hunt, man, which I do still agree that was a good decision for the UFC. Was it too soon? No, man, because if he beat Mark Hunt in that fight, people would have been all over Derek Lewis saying he's next. And he was right there, neck and neck with Francis this whole ride up. I honestly think Derek Lewis had a harder ride up than Francis, and we can contrast and compare it pretty close, but Derek Lewis honestly fought some monsters here. Then getting the win over Marcin Tybura, Francis Ngannou, and now he's going to be going against Volkov, who's ranked number 5 right now, and coming off a win to fucking Fabricio Verdum. Before that beating Stefan Struve, before that beating Roy Nelson, before that beating Tim Johnson. This is a huge fight. people are not sleeping on Alexander Volkov 2018. His striking is just so good. His jiu-jitsu is so good. What is he going to be able to... This is a very interesting fight here. I got Lewis via TKO round 1, though. Or, who knows, man? Is Volkov going to be able to... Like, I don't know. Like, I'm so excited for this fight. I'm so excited for it because Volkov has fought guys with the same style as Derek Lewis. The same exact style. Roy Nelson. Here, let's go back. I got to actually plug my phone in, guys, so give me 1 second here. This is definitely one of the best pay-per-views of the year. And the way that, it's so funny, the way this year's really been working out, it's like, it really is like some of the best cards that we've seen this year haven't been on pay-per-view. They've actually been free on Fox. And the thing about it is they haven't been promoted. So there's all these people missing out on these amazing events that you can watch for free. But they're not. But this one has a lot of promise here. We got a lot of promise for this card. You know, I'm still very upset that we do not have UFC Pick'em anymore. I'm just like so crushed over that. The past couple of weeks, I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but it just doesn't feel the same anymore. I miss the community that we had for UFC Pick'em. I think it's so ridiculous for them to even shut it down. I see a lot of, the people in the Imperial MMA chat room using Tapology now, which I'm definitely down on board for. I'm signed up for Tapology. I use Tapology all the time. But just the way that UFC Pick'em was set up was just too perfect and just too much fun. All right, so also on this card, we got Michelle Waterson, the Karate Hottie, going up against Felice Herrig. This is a huge fight for Felice. She definitely needs to win. 14-7 record. She's 34 years old, coming off a loss to Karolina Kowalkiewicz. But before that, man, she had the fight against Courtney Casey. She had the fight against Justine Kish, which everyone probably remembers the fight with Justine and what happened in that fight, which was embarrassing, but she handled it very well. Before that, she beat Alexa Grasso. Before that, Kaylin Curran. Her last loss was really back against Paige Van Zandt in 2015. And then recently with Carolina. Do I think she can get past Karate Hottie? Honestly, Karate Hottie's a very small girl. She's a natural atom weight. 15-6 record. Yeah, I am taking the Karate Hottie in this fight. The Karate Hottie's also coming off a win to Courtney Casey. Her last loss has been to Tisha Torres. Before that, Rose Namajunas, which were two brutal fights. But before that, she was on a nice little spree. I think this is a perfect matchup for both girls for where they're at right now in their career. I do not see this fight going the... I do see this fight going the distance, excuse me. I do see this fight going the distance, but I wouldn't be surprised if Michelle Waterson is able to get a finish here. I love Felice Herrig, man. I do. I love Felice Herrig, but I'm just being honest, and I could be totally wrong. I got Karate Hottie winning this fight. Then we got Little Pettis on the card going up against Formiga. Right off the bat, guys, I got to say, Little Pettis has definitely been on a spree, one of the biggest names right now in that weight division, and number 2 right now as well, so he could be next in line for the title. He's coming off that win to Joseph Benavidez. Before that, he lost to the current champion, Henry Cejudo. Could we see a rematch? I mean, Henry Cejudo, when he beat Showtime's little brother, it was just like, Cejudo was on a new level. All right, so I believe we got our next guest calling in. Jonas.
Eddie.
Is this Jonas Flock?
This is.
What's going on, Jonas? How you doing, boss? So, guys, we got our next guest calling in here. We got Joe Nasty, Jonas Flock, joining us with a 10-3 record. He's on a 6-fight win streak right now. Sorry, man, we're in the middle of the live show, so you called in. I didn't have any time to get you prepared to be counting down, but we're hopping right into it, man. The one thing I got to talk to you, man. You're on a 6-fight win streak. How are you feeling right now in 2018? Big year for you.
Yeah, I've been feeling real good now this past year and a half, making huge strides, and really looking forward to what 2019 is going to hold.
So what do you got in store right now? You got an upcoming fight? Are you coming off a fight? What's been pretty recent for you? What are we doing moving forward here?
Correct. I just came off a fight a little over 3 weeks ago. Fought for a 155 title, won that, and now I have a kickboxing fight coming up October 20th in Milwaukee.
So, wait, one thing I got to bring up, man. You bring up the title, and I got to ask, what is up with the Turkey Day Weight Gain Challenge men's division title? Like, do you guys do that like every Thanksgiving? I was definitely peeping your Instagram, man. What's up with that? Because that seems hilarious.
Yeah, that's a little family tradition we started probably 3-4 years ago. I don't even remember now. But yeah, well, whoever wants to will just weigh in before Thanksgiving. And then as soon as the meal's done, whenever you're done eating, weigh in after and see who put on the most.
See, that's I love that. That sounds so good. You guys got like a real belt and everything. Like, this is no like little cheesy thing. Like, these guys literally went out, they got like a real belt. The girls do it too? Like, I saw it said men's division. Is there a girls division too?
Yeah. We the first couple of years it was all kind of together, and then this last, I think, 2 years we kind of separated it in the men's division, women's division.
It's only fair. It's only fair. So are you on a 3-year winning streak for that too, or what?
No. I with the fight schedule, I had to take a couple of years off here and there.
Yeah.
But I believe I had 2 years. 2 years I've won that.
Let's talk about that, man. That's a really interesting thing. I mean, I feel so bad for fighters. Even before fights, like, you guys got to go to, like, you know, the casinos to get ready for fights, and, you know, you walk out, there's KFC there, there's Taco Bell, there's all these little gourmet candy shops and stuff like that. It's got to be so frustrating. How do you handle that? Like, how do you not cave in on some treats? And what do you do for, like, your diet and stuff like that?
It's real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten better staying away from fast food. I don't do a lot of fast food, but every now and then I'll trip up on like some candy bars or something. As far as my diet, I started living with our strength and conditioning coach, who's also recently a certified nutritionist, so he's been kind of helping keep me in check a little bit, keeping my diet a lot better these last couple fights.
So listen, man, like going through weight cuts and stuff like that, have you ever experienced like an opponent dropping out or something like that, like last minute, or has things been pretty smooth for you as of your career so far?
Lately it's been pretty smooth. In my amateur career, there's every now and then someone will drop out with like 2 weeks and they got to find a replacement or something like that. Even actually, now I think about it, there's been a couple pro fights now where I've had opponents drop out because of different either weight or licensing. But promoters are usually pretty good at finding replacements.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I asked the question. It's like, I see a lot of fighters out there. If you look at the percentages of like people filling in for a fight, it's like it's a very risky thing to do. When you get to like the big show, is that something that you want to stay away from? Because it really seems like if you do want to get in like the good graces of the UFC, if you make it there, you know, you put yourself out there for short notice fights. But if it doesn't work out your way, you could really put yourself in a corner, you know?
Yeah. I mean, initially getting there, whatever. If they want a last-minute fighter, I'll be there. But once I'm in there, I guess I just got to play it as it goes, listen to my coaches, and see what they say.
So there's one thing about you that I noticed. I don't know if like you're meaning to do it or if it's like part of your shtick, but like there's obviously a lot of people out there, when they tune into fights, they're looking for somebody that looks different or has like some kind of appeal about them or a style or the way they talk. You got like this facial hair game going on, man. You got some strong facial hair game going on. Is that something that you stay strong and proud of, or is that something just natural? Like that's just like your regular mustache? Because like it looks like you're almost like a 1940s Russian weightlifter, like John Gunther or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely just a kind of a fight gimmick thing. You know,
okay.
Just something I do. I don't know.
Like Gangs in New York style, like.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it reminds me.
Definitely not an everyday thing. As soon as the fight's done, I'll shave it and then wait till next fight camp to start growing the hair out again.
Well, Gunther was on my show a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to him about that as well, and he was like, man, ever since I had this mustache, people are like honking their horns at me walking down the street. He was like, there was like a trolley going by and they all stopped and waved at me. I was like, bro, you're like the new hot blonde in town. Getting like the extra attention and stuff like that. So I just think that's pretty funny. You actually train alongside somebody that's in the UFC, Zach Otto, and I interviewed one of your training partners the other day. What's it like training alongside somebody that's made it to the big show and has had, you know, an impact in your area?
Yeah, it's very motivating. It's kind of one of the reasons I started moving down here. I just moved down to Milwaukee. I've been down here for about a year and a half now. Basically because they were on the up, and like I knew the potential this gym had, and Zach got in the UFC fairly quick after I moved down here, probably 4 months maybe. So he's there. Montel just made it there recently. Alton was on the Contender Series, so we got a really solid fight team and pushing me hard every day.
Yeah, Alton should be joining us as well very soon here on Pure Evil MMA Guys. But, like, you know, the fact of the matter is, man, like, in this game or any career, even my career, it means a lot when you see somebody who has made it, because I don't know about you, but I'm sure this has got to be true for you. It's true for a lot of people out there. When you have a dream, when you wake up grinding every day, aiming for something, trying to make something of your talents instead of falling back on a safety net and, you know, working at the working a dead-end job or whatever. There's a lot of people that will doubt you and make you feel like you can't achieve that. So having somebody that actually has made it and is right next to you, that really does seal the deal for you, I think. Like, that's a huge part of the game, is like, can I make it? And to have somebody there that has, got to be eye-opening and make you take things a little bit more seriously for, you know, moving forward and pushing forward. Is this something that you're realizing? Like, are you working a part-time job right now, or are you a full-time fighter? Where are you at right now in your career?
Right now in my career, I'm a full-time job, full-time fighter, basically. I work third shift, so I'll work Sunday nights, come home, sleep for 6, maybe 7 hours, go to practice, come home from practice, go back to work, practice, sleep, work.
You're like a machine, man. That's got to be really, really difficult to do, though, right?
Some weeks are definitely easier than others. It grinds on you. You just got to be mentally strong and try not to let it get to you.
It proves that you want it. You know what I mean? Like it definitely proves to a lot of people out there, like, all right, even if he has a loss or something, like, he's bouncing back, he's staying motivated. Do you have children or anything? Are you single? Where are you at there?
Nope. Thankfully, I'm single right now and no kids, so at least I got that.
Well, that's a big thing too. Like, I don't want to say it's a distraction, but this is a very selfish sport. I say it all the time. Like, you can't have any distractions in this game. You already have work. You're super busy. Have you tried being in a relationship? It's got to be difficult for fighters to have relationships.
I've been in and out a couple, but as of right now, I'm just happy doing my thing.
There's no time for it, right? There's no possible way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So listen, man, I see that one thing about you that I also like is your walkout themes. Like, you do all different kind of walkouts and stuff like that. Are you working on some new ideas, and what are some of the past ones that you've done for people who have never seen it before?
Yeah, I'm always tumbling around a couple ideas in my head of what to do for the next one. I got a couple ideas. I'm planning out a couple right now, but as far as last ones, I did a Star Wars theme. I did Power Ranger shirts. I've done old school wrestlers.
I like that one. I saw that one. That one was pretty badass.
Wrestlers?
Yeah, that one was good.
I kind of want to revisit that one and do a whole new set of wrestlers, but I don't know. We'll play it as it goes, I guess.
So listen, man, before we end our interview, there's one thing I really want to talk about with you. It's like, a lot of your fights end up being finishes. Like, your last loss was in a decision. Is that something that kind of haunts you because you're such a finisher? Do you revisit that? What did you learn from that fight? And now that you're on a 6-fight win streak, especially.
Yeah, all my losses have been decisions, but that last one is looking back at it, there's so many adjustments you could make, you know, but in the moment you just miss the opportunities. Actually, that was a kind of a stand-up war, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing another stand-up kickboxing fight this time, to prove I am a stand-up fighter as well.
Is that something that you're going to be trying to do more of? Because I do see a lot of people out there that, you know, will do Muay Thai. They'll do, you know, jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff like that, just to help tweak out little areas in their game and stuff like that. And I think that's really smart, instead of learning inside the cage when it's going against your record, because it's not like baseball, football where you get a fresh record. You stick with your pro record your entire life. It's not going anywhere.
Right. Yep. I've done a couple jiu-jitsu outside of competitions too. As far as kickboxing, I don't know. I'll play it as it goes. I guess if this one goes real well, yeah, I might look into doing a couple more. But the main focus is obviously MMA.
So your name's Jonas. Where does Joe Nasty come from? How did you get that name? Because Jonas Flock, it sounds like a badass name all by itself. But then you add the Joe Nasty, like Joe Nasty, Jonas Flock. That's a ringer to it. Like I really like what you have going here between the walkouts and just like just your style, man. Like I really like it. Where did Joe Nasty come from?
Let's see. That was about 6-7 years ago, right about when I first started fighting. I was working at Menards, and they'd always call me Jonas Brothers, because the Jonas Brothers were big back then. And one of the other guys that I worked with wanted to do some boxing stuff, so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll try it out. And we kind of did an MMA fight. That was, I guess, officially my first MMA fight, kind of a backyard scrap. And I handled him pretty good, so after that, they started calling me Joe Nasty at work.
So listen, before we let you go, I got to jump into some MMA headlines. The biggest thing that people are talking about this week is Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Where do you land there? How do you see this fight going down? Are you a Conor fan, Khabib fan? What's going on here? How does this fight end?
I'm definitely more of a Khabib fan, but I really don't know.
Why are you a Khabib fan? Why are you a Khabib fan? What makes you side for Khabib?
No, it's I don't know. I kind of just a little too arrogant for my taste. I like what he's done for the fighters as far as his promotion and all that, but it's just too much for me. Like it's almost
fuck. Shit. Fuck. Oh my God. No. Come back to me, Johnny. Come back to me. Jonas. Oh, my phone just died. We're going to have to call him back in like literally a second here. I can't believe that just happened. I was not paying attention to my phone. The charger's right there. And I'm a freaking idiot. But Jonas Flock, man. Joe Nasty. Talking to a lot of fighters, man. And it seems like a lot of them are going for Khabib Nurmagomedov to win this fight. And like I said, I have it 60-40. 60 for Khabib, 40 for Conor. But I think the UFC wants Conor to win. They need Conor to win here. They need a big name to continue moving forward and not get stripped of the title, not lose the momentum that he has going. Because next, he could be the 165-pound champion. Next, he can fight Anderson Silva. Next, he can fight GSP. Like, the possibilities are endless. But one thing I don't want to see Conor ever do is go back into boxing. Like, Paulie Malignaggi, still there, still on the sideline. Oh, come on, phone. Like everyone wants a piece of Conor. Everyone wants a piece of Conor. And I really wouldn't be surprised, I really wouldn't, if they do have Conor do another boxing match, but not against Mayweather, but against another big-name boxer. I would not be surprised, because that felt big, man. And it was weird watching Conor walk out. He felt like he was just out of his element. Didn't feel right. He felt uncomfortable. But when he walks out, for the UFC, it feels like his home, his jungle. You know what I mean? He's walking out like the lion, I didn't feel that in the boxing fight. So we'll see if he's more comfortable if he does it again. I mean, when I went on iHeartRadio for Vinny Penn's show, directly after Mayweather McGregor went down, they asked me that same guy, they're like, do you want to see him fight in boxing? And I said, no, there's no way. If you never seen Conor fight before and you want to see what all this hype is about, then you need to watch him fight inside the octagon. Not only that, you should see him fight at 155, because what he was able to do to Eddie Alvarez that night was so remarkable. The way he was able to shut down Eddie Alvarez. Who's done that? Eddie Alvarez, when he came into the UFC, he's a smart fighter. He was going on aerial shows saying, I don't understand how all these guys are losing to Conor. All you got to do is take him down and just destroy him on his back. Well, Eddie, it wasn't that easy for Eddie. It was not that easy for Eddie. And Eddie's somebody that came into the UFC, rode his way to the top by his wrestling skills. People were getting frustrated because they're like, he's not, all he's doing is wrestling. But it's like, that's what is that's his bread and butter. That's what got him to the title shot. And then he knocked out, RDA for the title, right? He knocked out RDA for the title. Brutal knockout, too. That was a great night. Great fight. So at that moment, man, when Conor got matched up with Eddie, I was like, shit, man. I don't think Conor knows what he's getting himself into. I was more nervous for the fight with Eddie than I am for Khabib. But even still, I still think Khabib has a better chance of winning than Conor. But I do think Conor can knock him out. That's how I do see this fight going down. I don't know if it's going to be in the first round or the second round. But within the first 3 rounds, I see Conor getting the KO here. Let's call Jonas back because that wasn't right. I need to get in touch with him one more time. Shit. Let me, shit. Let's get him back on the line. Sorry about that. Jonas. Call back, dog. Call back. Because I don't have, his number, got deleted, I guess. For when he tried calling in. And it wasn't Phoenix, Arizona. 1257-1. Let's try calling him via Instagram. Nope, here we go. Jonas.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, sorry about that. My phone kind of glitched out and then just died. I had to restart it. But before we end the interview, man, you said that you like Khabib Nurmagomedov. So we're going to see what happens. Is your prediction for a decision?
I don't think it's going to go to a decision. I think it's going to be a finish. Who finishes, I'm not exactly sure, but I don't see this one going the distance.
I'm looking forward to this fight, man. I really am, man. There's everyone that I've been talking to has really been signing with Khabib Nurmagomedov, but I'm going to keep it real. I got Conor McGregor. But listen up. We are going to wrap this interview up with this last question. What can fans expect from you moving forward to the end of this year? What do you got in store here?
For the end of the year here, I got this kickboxing one here in about 2.5 weeks now. Maybe get one more in yet this year, and look forward to the next year. Hopefully, next year I get my foot in the big cage.
That would be all. Is the Contender Series something that you may be interested in? I mean, you got a really solid record here.
Yeah, I'm certainly interested. Whatever way I can get in there.
And what about Bellator, man? Because Bellator's been making a big name for himself this year, picking up a big roster. I mean, there are still some concerns there. They still got to, fix a couple of things here and there. But at the end of the day, it seems like they're really, making a big turnaround from the last couple of years, becoming more of a stable MMA promotion, just like the UFC.
Sure. I think we're still leaning
for the
trying
UFC.
to get to the UFC.
Yeah.
I talked to my coaches about it a little bit too, and they're kind of really looking at that UFC push.
I agree. I totally 100% agree with you. That should be the number one thing in everybody's book. But, a lot of people say it's harder to stay in the UFC than make it there. But we got our fingers crossed for you, man. 10-3 record, 6-fight win streak. You are on one hell of a climb in the MMA scene, man. And I want to thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA. What are your social media tags? Because people need to see this Turkey Day belt and stuff like that. The walkout costumes, and you got some really exciting, entertaining things on there. So where can people find you?
Instagram. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Farky, FARKY _Fark, FARK.
And last but not least, if you have any sponsors, shout-outs, anything at all, the floor is now all yours.
Currently no sponsors, but just give a shout out to Pure Vita MMA. Been here a year and a half, and they've done great things for me.
And big shout out to Deanna as well, your manager, for helping us hook up this interview.
Yep, yeah. Thanks to her, she's doing a lot for us. Deanna's been a big help.
All right, guys. Joe Nasty, Jonas Flock, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. We wish you best of skill moving forward.
All right, thanks, Eddie.
There we go, guys. A couple interviews down today. We got one more at 3 o'clock, which is in just about 45 minutes here. So I will be doing a part 2. I am going to take a quick break. Then I will be going back live before 3 o'clock. But guys, make sure to subscribe down below here on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Podomatic, wherever you're tuning in watching this. I'm Eddieis from Pure Evil MMA, MyMMAnews.com. And let me say this really quick. Me and James McSweeney from Season 10 of Ultimate Fighter, Team Rashad Evans, not Team Rampage, but Team Rashad Evans, we are doing our show tonight. James has an upcoming fight for KSW this weekend against another UFC vet, Thiago Santos. So let's get into that tonight, and we'll have it up on the iTunes and YouTube channel. And I'll be back shortly, guys. White knuckles to the end. Behave yourselves.